Okay, today I'm doing the first layer of Cabot's clear sealing. It's not a stain. I said in the video yesterday, the first video of this deck makeover, that it's a stain. It's not. It's a sealer, and it's a clear sealer. It looks yellow, and it kind of leaves a little more of a yellowish hue when it's dried. This side panel here looked the same as this when it was first sanded, and so it takes on a little bit more of a yellow hue, which is fine. It still looks really nice. That chunk of wood filler right there is going to be covered with one of those posts, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, so this is what it looks like putting this stuff on here. Looks like it gets real wet at first, and then in a few minutes it dries out. As I said in the video yesterday, this is a preliminary run here. I'm actually not totally convinced that I'm going to do the whole deck yet, because I wanted to see if doing this would be, how this would turn out. Would this even be would this look all right? So even at this point, if I don't like what I'm doing here, or if my back gives me too many problems, I can call it quits. But I'm just doing this to try to bring some new life back into this deck for who knows how long. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's looking really good. Let's take a walk up here. It's drying pretty well. So this is wet right here. This is not. This is wet, although the wood is kind of funky right here. It's probably this knot wood, but you can see that there's paint between there. Like I said yesterday, I'm not going for perfection. It's going to come off over time, as you can see right there. It's going to have a kind of a rustic, weird, I don't know. It looks kind of like it's almost antiqued in a way. You know, these old little knots here. I'm leaving all the screws. There's paint that's embedded down into there. You know, it's totally raw, if you want to put it that way. It's not nothing fancy here. Yes, this is the wet. Looking good. You can see there's the dry. There's the dog again. Loving it. So you see the difference in these colors. I'm assuming they're going to be the same. That same more yellowy, like the bottom down there. That will be filled in with that new post, and I'll sand down the side where the post will be. There was a lot of rot right there. So these dark spots will be covered. That's where our sprinkler system is. So that's got to be accessible. I'm going to probably attach that with some kind of I don't know, something. There's some pretty serious opening up of the wood right here. It's not serious, it's just exposed. But I'll seal it in real good, and like I said, we're not going for crazy perfection here. It's just gonna look good. And I anticipate that this will be, you know, water resistant for the first period of time. And as we get some rains here still here in April, and then through the summer, that will wear off. It's supposed to be slippery at first, so we got to be careful, but we'll be being careful to do that. And I'm going to do in the next couple of videos, I'm going to bring out the tripod and do a video of what it's like to use the Diama brush without the vacuum shroud and then with the shroud. The reason why I want to invest in the shroud, I don't have it yet, I'm going to buy it, is because when I use it, let me just back up here. When I use the Diama brush, that thing just kicks pieces of paint and wood everywhere, all over. They go everywhere. It is a mess. I mean, on the walls, I mean, in the windowsills, on the table. It's like I got to clear everything out of here and just give me a message. I was also thinking maybe putting my tarp down out here, you know, starting from like this next 3 boards in, and just collect all the chunks on that. And but yeah, the other thing is with all of that mess out here, I was sweeping it between the cracks, which did good. But then I'm like, well, maybe I'll just vacuum it up. Or then as I was sanding, there was so much fine dust with the sanding these boards that I decided to get that vacuum. And that thing was so impressive to me yesterday that I decided, well, maybe I'll just get the shroud for the grinder and use the vacuum on that and see what the difference is. And I'll do videos with that, with it on and with it off, so that you can see, first of all, how the Diama brush works on redwood. I know that there's other videos about it, but I like to do that stuff too. So my plan is to do maybe this next round, to maybe do the next 3 to 6 boards, so I have a little bit more of a span to go. Maybe just 3, I don't know. My thought is to just do, you know, step by step with this, and to kind of break it up instead of having all one kind of work at one time. That I can do, you know, do it in phases. It may make it look like the deck by the end of this when this is all done, like there may be some discoloration between each phase. I mean, if this takes me another 2 months to do, because I'm not like out here cracking the whip, this is like after work kind of stuff, and my back is so bad that I got to be careful not to really hurt myself when I'm doing it. But it seems that just about 3 boards right here is about as much as I can handle bending down and being down on my knees here and bending over and dealing with this stuff. But yeah, that's the hope, is to get that get some videos made with that Diama brush, and to, I think, dispel some fear about it, I guess. Like, especially for those who have painted their decks like this, you can bring it back. It's just going to take some work, some pretty serious work. You could even be sanding this with like one of those standing belt sanders that you rent. I'm not going to do that because I already have a sander and I don't want to spend any more money. And this is just, I really enjoy kind of the hands-on, seeing the progress being made of using the tools that we have already. And you don't need to be in a hurry. There's no reason to rush at this point. But I guess if I had to rush to do anything, I'd just repaint this thing and be done with it. But yeah, there's no rush with this, and I'm really liking the way that this is coming out so far. And again, that might change after I get a few more boards in, and could totally revert and go back to just painting this. You know, we actually have 2 gallons of deck paint that we got from our painter when they just redid our house this last summer. So we got some paint still to use. But yeah, this has been another fun project so far, and like I said, I'll make those videos and show you how to use the Diama brush, and with the shroud, I'm going to show how to attach that shroud and attach it to the vacuum, and then without it, just see how messy it is. So you can make that decision too when you're thinking about using the Diama brush, because it makes a huge mess. And at least for me, maybe I'm just weird like that, but it's a very messy tool to use, much more aggressive than a sander. Triple, quadruple what a sander does. I mean, it's not even comparable. It spits it everywhere. There's a fine coating and and particles too everywhere. So heads up on that. All right, so if you're thinking about the diamond brush, you might want to be thinking about getting the vacuum attachment, which I know there are different sizes for that as well. But I'll continue here for a little bit with this, so you can see how some of these boards here, this third one in especially, it's a little bit of a harder. I'm not sure if it's a different kind of a redwood, or if it's even redwood, I don't know. But it's a little bit different color, and it seems like it doesn't take it takes the sealer different. It seems like it's a harder. When I went over this piece of wood with the grinder, it was much harder. Same with the sander. It was a much harder kind of wood, so I'm not sure what that means. Is it a different part of the tree, or just a different kind? And this middle board right here is very soft, and you'll see this stuff just, it soaks right into this real quick. So I'm just taking my time and filling it in. We're gonna have some rain here for the next couple days, so I'm gonna get this done today, and then I'm gonna get back at this, more than likely, weather permitting, next week, and we'll probably be having some video, a video at least, come next week about this. All right, so that's what we're doing. And get the edge over here. Use some of that wet stuff. I used my hand planer to get this edge yesterday. And then I brought the sander back and kind of sanded it over. I can't use the hand planer on this, at least at this point. I can't on this deck. That was my original idea, was to actually take off every single board and plane every single one of them down with a cheap planer. But we have a hand planer already, and I was gonna do that, but you see, we got all these nails, and that would probably end up ruining the planer unless I was to go through and knock every single one of them down really, really deep, which I could still do. May even try it. Who knows? You might see that in the future. If I do that, I'll make a video of that too. But that would be, I would have to learn how to really use that thing well before I could confidently use that tool to try to get all of this level. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. All right. See you guys in a little bit.